Welcome in to our video preview here of the UMass game. Ryan, after last Thursday night's game, I wasn't sure if the sun was going to come back up in Boulder here, but it does, and they're getting ready for another football game. If what happened at Hawaii is a microcosm of what's to come, then this is going to be a really long football season. But, you know, you see wacky things happen first week of the season. There's certainly no excuses for Colorado's performance, but could that have been maybe an aberration and maybe we'll see this team kind of rebound and bounce back?
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Obviously, CU fans, they've had so many letdown losses that it's hard for them to see it as anything as just being the same old Buffs. But when you take a step back and you look at that game, a lot of weird things happen. It's hard to believe the offense is going to struggle that much throughout this season. So I think with the wacky fumble on the kick return, they don't quite get the guy down in the end zone for a safety. A lot of weird things that could just be that opening day weirdness, but it's so hard for CU fans to see that. And I think this week will show a lot whether or not this team is really prepared to take a step forward this year.
Last week you were very festive with your Hawaiian shirt. This week you didn't have a Revolutionary War outfit in the back of the closet or a musket back there to bring out?
No, none of that. No Tom Brady jersey. I don't really know anything about Massachusetts as an entire state.
There's no Munsterteigers or Koenigsberg on this team, but there's some good names. You got Whipple coaching Frohnapfel, thrown to Tajay Sharp. Defensively, they got a cornerback, a speedy guy named Jet. What's your favorite name on this Minutemen team?
They've got a guy named Shadrach Ubrokwa, but then they also have a guy this is probably my favorite, and I might mess up his first name, but I'm pretty sure his name is Shaki Holiness.
All right, well, on a serious note here, Blake Frohnapfel has a good arm. Mike McIntyre talked about how he can make all the throws. We saw him play relatively well when Colorado traveled out to New England last year. But if you're shaking your boots over Blake Frohnapfel, then you're going to be in for a world of trouble when you get into Pac-12 play.
Yeah, coaches do this. They have to. They look up a few things about the team before they head in the press conference. They have a couple stats they can throw at you from last season. They returned the most starters in FBS. And I've got people on Twitter coming at me, he's already scared of UMass. What is this guy doing? Watch any press conference before a game. The coach is going to pump up the other team a little bit. That being said, Blake Frohnapfel can throw the ball. If you give him time back there, like Mike McIntyre said, he's going to throw darts all day. And Tajay Sharp is no slacker out there. So I think, obviously, you have to go out there and shut down this offense, because if not, you're going to see some much, much better quarterbacks in your near future, and they're going to be ready to feast.
Now, Frohnapfel was a first-team All-MAC selection last year, so I guess we shouldn't underplay it too much. But again, yeah, you've got to be able to take care of business against him. This is a UMass team that played a lot of close games, similarly to Colorado last year. They had 4 losses by 12 points, 5 by a combined 19 points, obviously playing at a different competition level, playing in the MAC conference. 0-11 against power conference teams since jumping up to the FBS ranks. Ryan, what needs to happen on Saturday for Colorado faithful to leave Folsom Field feeling pretty good?
Yeah.
They're not going to feel great, but feeling pretty good.
Right. I think it comes down to this team being dominant. I said this yesterday. If this game is close in the third quarter, you and I are going to be able to hear the sound all the way up from the press box. It's just the murmuring of, here we go again, they're going to find a way to lose this game. They absolutely have to go out there, and it doesn't have to be a blowout score. They have to show they're in control of this game and really win it from the beginning. One thing I think is important is the offense needs to go out there and do something that makes the fans make excuses for them with Hawaii. Go out there early and throw it around and get an easy score early, so fans can be like, oh, maybe it was that 11 p.m. start, whatever. Oh, maybe they didn't get enough sleep, or what might it be. Make the fans make the excuses for you. That way they're feeling good going into CSU.
Yeah, in terms of UMass, this is a defense that ranked tied for 116th in sacks last year. We've talked about the struggles of CU's interior of their own line last week at Hawaii. If you can't correct those problems against UMass, you have to be really concerned about that unit going forward. So I'm going to put my spotlight on those guards. Jared Coe expected to be back from the ankle injury he had in the Hawaii game. We'll see if Shane Callahan and Jonathan Huckins continue to rotate in that right guard role. Those interior guys gave up 3 of the 4 sacks and quite a few of those hurries in the Hawaii game. So they're going to have to improve, or this could be a really long season for the offense and Sefo Lufau. Who are you going to spotlight this week?
Yeah, I'm going to look over at Kenneth Crawley. A lot of talk in the offseason about this secondary being such a big strength, and we mentioned it on our podcast and even on this video feature last week. If you have one weakness in that secondary, it can make the whole secondary look like a weakness. We didn't expect it to be Ken last week, and he was that weakness, and it ended up, possibly costing them the game. So I look this week to see if Kenneth Crawley can get it going, because again, this is a quarterback from a lower conference who can throw the ball a little bit, and he has a talented wide receiver. If Kenneth Crawley or any of that secondary really has a real hard time shutting down this passing game, I think CU fans have a lot to worry about. So I'm going to look over at number 2 and look for him to stand up to this defense.
Yeah, there were a few things that were surprising in that Hawaii game. Kenneth Crawley's performance was maybe at the top of the list. I feel like he gave up more plays in that game than he did all of preseason camp out here. But you look at, if you're UMass, you're watching the film of the Hawaii game going, we're going to pick on this guy. So I think that's a great pick there. We were out here on Saturday. Obviously, they had the longer break between games, and we were out here for Saturday's practice, and we were kind of talking about what we thought Vegas would kind of set the line at for this game. And I put it at about 14 and a half, and of course, that's kind of what it came out as. Of course. Down to 13, I think. I feel like that's a pretty good line. My prediction for this football game, I think Colorado's offense is going to get it going a little bit. I'm going to say Colorado wins this football game 41, UMass 27.
Yeah, I'm not stealing your score here, because I was actually on record with my score for the Buffaloes before that this was taped, so just because he took the microphone. I'm also putting the Buffs at 41, but I don't think they quite cover that spread, even though I agree with that spread where it is. So I think 41-30 is where I'm going to stand on this one. Colorado gets a win, and I think it's going to be one of those things where they are in control. Maybe there's a scare in there at some point where you do start to hear those murmurs up in Folsom Field, but for the most part, Colorado controls this game despite not covering the spread.
Did you pocket car and Harvard Yard?
Excuse me, what?
That's my Boston accent. We were toying with the idea of doing this whole video in a Boston accent. That's my best. C+, B-?
F. Free Tom.
Wow.
Free Tommy. Free Tom Brady.
All right. Well, it should be a beautiful day in Folsom Field. Hopefully, all of you have gotten over the disappointment of the Hawaii game and can show out to support this football team.